This that
Red Panda Anthem.
Ian, what's up?
This that Red Panda Anthem.
Red Panda, what's good?
Red Panda Anthem.
So Tesla missed its Q4 estimates. Do we feel Tesla is in trouble this year, or will it make a recovery? So we just starting out this year. Markets closed holiday, but Tesla's one of those stocks, and of course, it's been well documented that Elon Musk lost the most amount of money in history.
200 billion.
He lost 200 billion, and that was
yeah.
so. He lost the most. He lost the most in history.
It's the big one. Jesus.
So
You pulled the Sanford and Son.
And
For
obviously
real.
that was because the Tesla stock was down. That's why he lost so much money. So, okay, a lot of people are interested in investing in Tesla. What's the deal?
Good investment. You got to wait till 103.52. The easy gains of the last few years are gone. Now this is the market for those who are like extremely patient, and the patience leads to profitability. I need people to stop panicking when these kind of drops have happened, especially when we're calling them here. Resolution number one. I don't want you guys to listen to anybody else about investing but us. Write that in chat. I read a comment on my social. Shout out to Chris who reposted it when I was like, hey, Tesla's going to fall. And somebody's like, I want whatever he's smoking. And the price got hit. I need you to look at marking off all of your levels for the year on the top 100 companies in the world. So if they get there in advance, you're good. Tesla's a good company. 40% growth, but they just missed on a delivery estimate. I think they'll be fine. I said the market won't recover until 2023, like May or June. If you are getting it now in a 103, 101 price, 105 price for Tesla, you'll be very happy in 2 years. I think all the people who wanted quick gains, who were not patient and who bought at bad prices got punished, and those who were patient are doing incredibly well. You can set up your generation in the next 5 years by making a couple of good moves. I like Tesla for the long term. I do want him to get more focus back on Tesla. We'll talk about AI and ChatGPT, which he helped co-create and invested in, but they need to find a lot more ways to automate some of the infrastructure at Twitter. But I think ChatGPT will be an easy way that will allow him to take his hands off of Twitter and focus back on Tesla. But I think give it a year or so, Tesla will be back in pole position for sure.
Yeah, there's a couple of things there. I think if perspective is key on that, right? If you look at it, I know price adjusted because of the splits that they've had. But in 2020, it was trading at $54, right? So if you look at it now, like you said, it's still up over 40%. It's had the worst year since 2008. This is true. But production was the reason, right? And obviously, production has a lot to do with the supply chain issues, but you can see the development that's happening. Obviously, we talked about it numerous times about the factories that they're building here domestically and internationally. So you see that there's potential for growth. But we got to look at Tesla two ways, right? Either you can look at it, well, three ways. You could look at it as a EV company, a car company, and then base it on that, and then look what its competitors are when you talk about Ford and GM, and it's not even close. Or you could look at it as a tech company and look at where it does in that sector. Or you could look at it as a hybrid of both. And if we do that, then you understand the long-term growth that's going to be associated with this company. And so, yes, was it a tough year for them? Yes, absolutely, 1,000%. But it's the same thing we've been saying for the past 3 years. When we talk about investing, we're not talking about 1 year or 2 years, or we're not even talking about day trading. We're talking about a long-term perspective. And so I think that's the key, right? If Tesla was something we believed in when it was at, again, price adjusted at over $400, it's something that you still should believe in when it's down here at 123 like it is today. So I'm still long on Tesla.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going anywhere. The lead that it has in the EV space, especially in the car market, is it's so gigantic, and the technology that they put out. I mean, you can look at even like a Mercedes who's doing EV now. It's just not the same. So they're well ahead in that space, and I think it's going to continue, especially when you see a lot of, not even just states, like we saw New York and we saw California, but now countries are saying, look, we're going to EV by 2030 or 2035. When you're the leader in that space, I mean, you got a distinct advantage.
And what's the purpose of electronic vehicles? If we're going to be honest, data is the new gold. So I don't think anyone technically wants electronic vehicles. What governments at scale do want is the ability to track and have that data and be able to harvest it. So if they're the leader with one of the biggest tech players, origins in South Africa, dad was a gold and diamond miner. You can put the correlations together. This is ultimately a data exploration at scale. And if they can get an international market share of 45%, that will be the new big tech wave. Because now we have to go away from software that's useless. We have to have a hybrid of hardware and software that has real world use case for. So now if we can track where everyone is going, spending habits, even with the Roomba, Amazon genius acquisition, now you can see what the floor space is on average is in aggregate across the United States. So you know what better furniture to sell them, what products they need. So this is really a data mining game on top of EV. And well played by the government, well played by Elon to set up a B to G category and make electronic vehicles sexy when no one else wanted a Prius prior to. Put yes in chat if I made you money. Tesla's good for the long term. And I know everyone's like, yo, how can you support Elon? He's not pro-black, neither is Kanye. Who got the biggest fumble, Elon or Kanye?
That was an actual article.
Hey, Elon didn't have to sing to get his bae to come back to him one time on stage. That boy gonna be straight. Shout out to Kanye, though. That was another call I made that last year, too, but hey. Bowed gracefully. Shout out to Kanye, though. And Elon.
Just to add to it, you said the stock was at 50 and now it's at 100. So, but it did split.
Oh yeah,
it's split.
Yes,
that's what I said. Price adjusted
twice. It split twice.
Yeah, they did the 5-1, and they did another. I think they did another 3-1. Yeah, so price adjusted.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is the question that everybody wants to know.
No, don't be shy now. Go ahead.
This is it.
Bring your kids to work.
What do you think will be the best performing stock this year? What's your pick?
Schlumberger did pretty well this year. If the economy stays down, I'm going to lean on one of my babies, Microsoft. And not because historically I love it and I love the CEO, but I think we'll have a bounce in the market. And I truly believe that Microsoft is going to get into that cybersecurity space. If you go look at some of the acquisitions that they've made and the team that they're building, I think for the first time in maybe 15 years, most corporations are saying, hey, we have to build some real businesses and not just software at scale and throw something out and hope that it works like Slack or any comparable companies. I think they're going to push heavy into that cybersecurity space. And then as a result, I think they'll have one of the best years that they've had in a while. No, baby. Let me finish.
Okay. So your pick is Microsoft.
Yep.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that we will have a positive year for the stock market as a whole, or will we have a negative year?
I think we'll be 2023. Oh, no, I said the economy wouldn't recover to 2024. I think we'll be flat. We may be somewhere around like 2 to 6%. Because if we just look at the landscape, still no quantitative easing. Mm-hmm. And going back to when we were talking last summer, when Sean was like, hey, most tech is too high. I agree. Also, when you look at the stats, since 1980, anytime we got to like 31% return, in a year or 3 years, we start to turn over to the downside. And that happened in 2020. Can anyone name me 15 companies right now that is just like producing amazing products with amazing net income, amazing revenue? Can't do it. So if 3,000 companies out there or 4,000 companies out there are underperforming, I don't think we'll have an amazing performance in the stock market. It is an accumulation phase though. This is the time when you like can get rich. If you're aiming to get like 1,000 shares a year or 1,000 shares every 2 years, and when this is over in a 5-year period, you'll be incredibly happy. But they should go watch the previous episodes on the Benner cycle. That'll tell you exactly when we'll start to like have a peak, a bust, a boom, and you can time when to place your capital into the market based on that. But I think we'll be relatively flat. I mean, Red Panda going to be up regardless, up market, down market. But for general consensus, I think we'll be flat.
Flat, he says. Okay. So the accumulation part is where I was going. And so last year I said Amazon, and obviously the market really punished them along with other tech stocks. But the accumulation is the reason I'm going to say I'm going to go with AMD as one of those stocks to watch in 2023. If you looked over the last quarter, especially in the semiconductor space, we saw a rise of maybe 30% for the space, which is interesting. Obviously, we were dealing with supply chain, but now it's oversupply, and now they have to regulate that. But I think the reason I'm looking at them is because of the fall that they've had. I think the stock was down 50% or 58%, trading at $64. Was at a peak at 147 at the time. I felt really great about that. I was still accumulating. But now it's down to 64. And I think based on that regulation of how they'll figure out the balance of supply chain versus over demand, the mere fact of their market share in the space, I'm pretty confident. I like them long term. Obviously, I've been accumulating that for a while, but where it's at right now and the upside for it, if you look at all the analyst projections, they're looking at it from 25% to 45% gain in 2023. I like AMD, but I got a surprise one for you. You ready?
Go ahead.
Lululemon.
I swear to God, that was on my list. Them and Halliburton and T-Mobile. Yes. Lulu is one of my favorites.
Lululemon, I've been watching from a retail. It's an athleisure wear. And I didn't realize it until like maybe during the pandemic when we saw a lot of people, go into that space, obviously, because people were home, a lot more home exercise, and people went back to the gym. But then my daughter started bringing it up a lot. And it was, can I get this? Can I get this? And then I looked at her list for Christmas and her birthdays. It's been Lululemon on the list. And I'm like, this is becoming a thing amongst young people. And once I start seeing young people adapt toward an athleisure wear or a company, it tells me that they've hit the right market, because the only thing that happens when you galvanize young people is that you get more young people. So I like Lululemon as a company. If you look at the history of their stock over the past 3 to 5 years, you can see the growth. It's on my surprise list of 2023.
I will say too, if China releases or eases up on the COVID restrictions, Alibaba will be my number 2 as well. I don't know if they will, but the number 1 canary in the coal mine that I'm looking for this year, if China eases up on those restrictions and they let people start to move around the country freely, don't have as many lockdowns, that's going to be the first sign, because that market is going to turn upward before ours does. And if we get 4 or 5 months of positive growth there, things are going to boom for us here, for sure.
This that
Red Panda Anthem.
Ian, what's up?
This that Red Panda Anthem.
Red Panda, what's
This
good?
that Red Panda Anthem.
Your
Whole
boy.
clique going up. I know they can't stand it.